We increased our borrowing capacity by about $400 million. We took our revolving line of credit up to $950 million of capacity, and we extended the maturity date to 2027 from 2024. So all of those things give us really good flexibility near term and long term.
Joining me today is David Cramer, President and CEO of National Storage Affiliates Trust. So David, what trends are you seeing in 2023 with regard to occupancy, and how do you expect that to impact revenue growth?
Yeah, good question. We've certainly moderated from the record levels of 21 and 22. Those were fueled by pandemic level demand and a really hot housing market. So our occupancy levels have settled back into more historic levels for our portfolio. And so as we looked at this year, we thought we would start and have a more seasonal pattern to our occupancy levels as we went through the spring leasing season. And for our portfolio, you usually see the low point in February in occupancy, and you start to see an increase through June and July. And so it'll trail off towards the back half of the year. And what we've experienced this year so far is really just flat, consistent occupancy. Our end of May occupancy was 90%. It's pretty much been 90% the entire 5 months of the spring leasing season. And so from our expectation, we're just a little bit below on occupancy, which will put a little bit of pressure on top-end revenue. We do have some positive things, though. I mean, street rate growth sequentially has grown every month. Our in-place tenant rate changes have been very robust, and so contract rate has grown every month through the spring leasing season. And our length of stay has been very consistent. So the consumer behavior patterns are very consistent. What we're just not seeing is the top-end rental activity we thought we would get.
And how would you describe transaction activity in general at this time, as well as NSA's captive pipeline of assets?
Another good question. So the transaction activity external has been slow. Certainly we went through 2 years of very robust activity. The sector saw billions and billions of dollars of transactions through 21 and 2022. And the sellers' expectations got very inflated from pricing, and cost of capital has changed. Interest rates have gone up. The buyer's expectation and the buyer's disciplines right now are at an all-time high. We're being very selective. We're being very, like I said, disciplined with our capital, and there's just a bid-ask spread between seller and buyer's expectations. And so the external front has been quiet. We still see deals coming across our desk. We're just not highly motivated to work at the pricing we're seeing today. We have a unique advantage in our captive pipeline, which is part of our PRO structure. Our assets that the PROs have an ownership interest in, or they have some type of control over outside of our REIT. And so we've been leaning into that quite aggressively, particularly this year. We were able to close 15 properties, about $145 million worth of value in Orlando, Florida, which is a top 25 market. It came out of our captive pipeline, so we're able to negotiate a very attractive cap rate on those assets, and we're able to satisfy the sellers with a tax-deferred transaction using preferred equity. And so we think in this time frame and in the near term, we'll be leaning more into our captive pipeline than we probably will be externally.
And can you discuss the ways in which NSA has positioned its balance sheet to deal with higher interest rates and other macro challenges?
The team did an excellent job. We recast our credit facility first of the year, and they worked really hard, and they did a wonderful job getting it over the finish line. We increased our borrowing capacity by about $400 million. We took our revolving line of credit up to $950 million of capacity, and we extended the maturity date to 2027 from 2024. So all of those things give us really good flexibility near term and long term, and the team, like I said, did a wonderful job getting it over the finish line in a very tough time frame. We've also paid down about $300 million of near-term maturities, which gives us flexibility where we don't have any pressure on any type of near-term maturities at our doorstep right now. And then we recently just did a $120 million private placement, which we used to pay down some floating rate interest. And so we were happy about that transaction as well. We currently carry about 16% floating rate interest, and so we are feeling a little bit of interest rate pressure today. We think that's a near-term problem. We think about our business very long-term. We're very comfortable with where we carry our debt loads. We're very comfortable in the stacks of capital we have available to us. And so from our seat right now, I think we've done everything we can to position ourselves for the near term and long term, and we're very comfortable where we're at.